Afghanistan, a landlocked nation in Asia, has been a crossroads of civilizations for millennia. Its strategic location on ancient trade routes like the Silk Road made it a melting pot of cultures. The towering Hindu Kush mountain range dominates its landscape, influencing settlement patterns and political dynamics. Afghanistan is a land of diverse ethnicities, languages, and traditions. Pashtuns, Tajiks, Hazaras, Uzbeks, and others have created a vibrant mosaic of Afghan culture. Afghanistan's history stretches back to the dawn of civilization. Archaeological evidence suggests that humans have inhabited this land for over 50,000 years. The ancient region of Afghanistan witnessed the rise and fall of numerous empires. In the 6th century BCE, Cyrus the Great of the Persian Achaemenid Empire conquered much of the region. Alexander the Great's conquests brought Hellenistic culture to Afghanistan. The Kushan Empire marked a golden age in Afghan history. Under Kanishka the Great, the Kushan Empire reached its zenith, spreading Buddhism to Central Asia and China. The Gandhara school of art blended Greek, Roman, and Indian traditions. The arrival of Islam in the 7th century CE marked a turning point in Afghan history. The Arab armies carrying the banner of Islam first entered Afghanistan in the mid-7th century. Islam gradually gained acceptance among the Afghan population. Following the Arab conquests, Afghanistan became integrated into the wider Islamic world. The Ghaznavids, of Turkic origin, rose to prominence in the 10th century. The Ghurid Empire extended their rule over a vast territory, including parts of northern India. The spread of Islam in Afghanistan led to a profound cultural transformation. Islamic art and architecture flourished, with mosques and minarets becoming prominent features. Persian literature and Afghan music absorbed Islamic influences. The 13th century brought the Mongol invasions to Afghanistan. Cities like Herat and Balkh were razed, leading to widespread famine and displacement. The Mongols, after consolidating their conquests, adopted a more settled way of life. Following the fragmentation of the Mongol Empire, Timur emerged from Central Asia. Timur's armies swept through Persia and Afghanistan, establishing a vast empire. His patronage of the arts and sciences contributed to the cultural vibrancy of the region. The Mongol invasions had a profound impact on Afghanistan. The destruction led to the decline of urban centers and disruption of trade routes. The Mongol period also witnessed significant cultural exchange between Central Asia and the Islamic world. In the 19th century, Afghanistan found itself caught in the crosshairs of imperial ambitions. The British Empire viewed Afghanistan as a crucial buffer state against Russian expansion. This clash of interests set the stage for the Great Game. The Great Game, a term popularized by British writer Rudyard Kipling, aptly described the intense rivalry and intrigue that characterized Anglo-Russian relations in Central Asia during the 19th century. It was a high-stakes chess match played out on the rugged terrain of Afghanistan, with both sides vying for control of this strategically important region. The Great Game was characterized by espionage, covert operations, and proxy wars. British and Russian agents roamed the region, seeking to gather intelligence, forge alliances with local rulers, and undermine each other's influence. The First Anglo-Afghan War, from 1839 to 1842, marked a disastrous attempt by the British to install a puppet ruler in Kabul. The British invasion initially succeeded in deposing the reigning Afghan emir, Dost Muhammad Khan, and replacing him with a ruler more amenable to British interests. However, the Afghan people, deeply resentful of foreign occupation, rose up in rebellion, inflicting heavy casualties on the British forces and forcing them to retreat in humiliation. The First Anglo-Afghan War served as a stark reminder of the challenges of imposing foreign rule on the fiercely independent Afghans. It also highlighted the high cost, both in terms of lives and resources, of pursuing imperial ambitions in this unforgiving land. Despite the setbacks of the First Anglo-Afghan War, the British remained determined to maintain their influence in Afghanistan. They recognized the strategic importance of preventing Afghanistan from falling under Russian control. The Second Anglo-Afghan War, from 1878 to 1880, saw the British once again embroiled in a costly conflict in Afghanistan. This time, the British were provoked by what they perceived as growing Russian influence in Kabul. The war ended in a stalemate, with the British imposing a treaty that granted them control over Afghanistan's foreign policy, while leaving the country's internal affairs largely untouched. Afghanistan, now firmly established as a buffer state between British India and Russian Central Asia, gained a degree of autonomy, but at the cost of its independence in international affairs. The Great Game had a profound impact on Afghanistan's destiny. It transformed the country into a battleground for competing empires, its fate intertwined with the machinations of foreign powers. The Anglo-Russian rivalry, while ultimately averted through diplomatic agreements, left a legacy of mistrust and instability in the region. Afghanistan, caught in the crossfire of imperial ambitions, emerged from the Great Game as a politically fragile state, its internal divisions exacerbated by decades of foreign interference. The Great Game had a profound impact on Afghanistan's destiny, shaping its political landscape and influencing its relations with its neighbors for generations to come. The 20th century ushered in a period of significant transformation for Afghanistan. As the grip of the Great Game loosened, Afghanistan sought to assert its independence and modernize its society. King Amanullah Khan, who ascended to the throne in 1919, emerged as a symbol of this new era. Inspired by the reforms of Mustafa Kemal Atatürk in Turkey, Amanullah embarked on an ambitious program of modernization. He introduced social reforms, such as the abolition of polygamy and the encouragement of education for girls, which challenged traditional norms and sparked resistance from conservative elements within Afghan society. Amanullah's reign, though marked by progress, was cut short by a rebellion in 1929, forcing him into exile. The following decades witnessed a period of political instability and internal strife as various factions vied for power. The monarchy was eventually restored in 1933 with the coronation of Zahir Shah, who would rule for the next 4 decades. Zahir Shah's reign, though marked by relative stability, was also characterized by a cautious approach to modernization. Afghanistan remained a predominantly rural and underdeveloped country, its economy heavily reliant on agriculture. The winds of change blowing across the world, however, were beginning to reach Afghanistan, bringing with them new ideas about governance, society, and the role of the state. The mid-20th century witnessed the rise of Cold War tensions, which would have a profound impact on Afghanistan. As the United States and the Soviet Union competed for influence around the world, Afghanistan's strategic location once again thrust it into the center of geopolitical rivalries. In 1957, Afghanistan signed an agreement with the Soviet Union, marking the beginning of a close relationship that would have far-reaching consequences. The Soviet Union provided economic aid, military assistance, and infrastructure development, helping to modernize Afghanistan's infrastructure and military capabilities. The United States, wary of growing Soviet influence in the region, also provided aid to Afghanistan, albeit on a smaller scale. In 1973, a coup led by Mohammad Daoud Khan, Zahir Shah's cousin, toppled the monarchy and established the Republic of Afghanistan. Daoud, a charismatic leader with ambitious plans for modernization, sought to reduce Afghanistan's dependence on both superpowers. However, his rule was marked by political repression and growing instability, as he faced opposition from both Islamist and communist factions within the country. The Cold War rivalry cast a long shadow over Afghanistan, exacerbating internal divisions and setting the stage for future conflicts. The late 1970s plunged Afghanistan into decades of war and turmoil. In 1978, a Soviet-backed coup established the Democratic Republic of Afghanistan. The new communist government initiated radical reforms. These reforms sparked widespread rural resistance. The PDPA's internal divisions led to a Soviet intervention request. On December 24, 1979, Soviet troops invaded Afghanistan. The invasion triggered global outcry and a proxy war. The Afghan Mujahideen fought fiercely against the Soviets. They received support from the US and allies through Pakistan. The invasion unleashed violence and destruction for decades. The Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan in 1989 did not bring peace. Instead, it left a power vacuum. The Mujahideen turned their weapons on each other, plunging Afghanistan into civil war. Amidst this chaos, the Taliban emerged in Kandahar. Led by Mullah Muhammad Omar, they promised order and security. The Taliban imposed a strict interpretation of Sharia. Their rule was harsh and unforgiving. The September 11, 2001 attacks on the US had profound consequences for Afghanistan. Orchestrated by Osama bin Laden from Afghanistan, the attacks led to US demands for action. The Taliban refused, leading to the US launching Operation Enduring Freedom in October 2001. The US-led campaign quickly toppled the Taliban regime. This intervention marked the start of a protracted, costly war spanning 2 decades. The US intervention in Afghanistan led to significant political, social, and economic transformations. The fall of the Taliban unleashed political freedom and social change. Millions of Afghan girls attended school. Women entered the workforce and politics. A vibrant media landscape emerged, foreign aid improved healthcare and infrastructure. However, these gains came at a heavy price. The war claimed many lives and displaced millions. The Taliban insurgency gained strength. The war exacerbated ethnic tensions. The US intervention created new challenges. Afghanistan grappled with the legacy of war. Afghanistan's story is one of remarkable resilience. For millennia, its people have endured invasions and weathered empires. From the ancient Aryans to modern-day Afghans rebuilding their lives, the Afghan spirit remains unbroken. Their resilience is a beacon of hope, a testament to enduring strength. As Afghanistan turns the page on yet another chapter in its tumultuous history, it faces a future fraught with challenges but also pregnant with possibilities. The withdrawal of US forces in 2021 and the return of the Taliban to power have ushered in a new era of uncertainty. The international community grapples with how to engage with the new regime, balancing concerns about human rights and security with the need to provide humanitarian assistance to a population in dire need. The Afghan people once again find themselves at a crossroads. The path ahead is fraught with uncertainty, but the resilience and determination of the Afghan people offer a glimmer of hope. The international community has a moral obligation to support the Afghan people in their quest for peace, stability, and a brighter future. The road to peace and prosperity will be long and arduous, but Afghanistan's history has taught us that its people are capable of extraordinary resilience and determination. The international community must stand by the Afghan people, providing humanitarian assistance, supporting education and economic development, and promoting dialogue and reconciliation. The future of Afghanistan will ultimately be determined by the Afghan people themselves. Their courage, their resilience, and their unwavering spirit are the greatest assets they possess as they navigate the challenges ahead and strive to build a more peaceful and prosperous future for their nation.